Hi there, this is Bevan Jones, Head of Science for Education Perfect, and welcome to this short webinar, which is about moving forward with online assessment and how Education Perfect can help make this transition as straightforward as possible. So first of all, top 5 reasons for moving forward with online assessment. I came up with a really big list, but I've shortened it down. Obviously preparing students for their shift to online NZQA examinations in the coming years, and also the sort of anytime, anywhere policy. Saving teachers' time is a big one with auto-marked questions, typed responses which are easier to read and mark, and also easy internal moderation. We can also cater for students with special assessment conditions and reduce the need for reader-writers through the use of our text-to-speech components and also through verbal submission of answers using a voice recorder. Students benefit hugely as well in terms of targeted remediation at the end of our diagnostic assessments, and they can also be linked into end of topic tests and end of year exams if needed as well. Saving the trees is the last one I'll add in there, and reducing the photocopy budget. Obviously by doing online assessments we can reduce these two areas as well. So let's get started. I'm just going to jump into the content library and we're going to look at what we have already there for science in terms of assessments that are pre-built, and also running through looking at internal assessments. So just starting off with our new diagnostic assessments for junior science, we've got curriculum level diagnostic assessments, 3/4, 4/5, and 3, 4, and 5. I've been over this in a previous webinar, so I won't dwell on this too much, but these take students through all this nature of science content, and then they will link students back to the Introduction to Science unit if students struggle in any parts of that test. So a lot of schools have run those diagnostic assessments across their junior cohorts, found them really, really good, well matched to student ability, and they get a really good analysis of where the students are at the end of it, hoping that they'll also run them at the end of the year and then use our comparison tool to assess progress. We have, in our junior science area, we also have developed end of topic tests and question banks for living world, material world, and we're just moving through our physical world material at the moment. So there are question banks with automatically marked questions, as well as extended answer question banks. And you can take questions from any of these areas and pull it together for an end of topic test. So there's lots there already. I've gone through and created some pre-built end of topic tests as well. These are all editable. So you can edit them, move them into your school's area, tweak them how you see fit, and add in other questions if you need to from the question bank. Also at the moment, we have created an internal assessment templates folder. This is featured at the moment, so you can have a look through there once you finish this webinar. There are templates for NCEA Level 1, Biology, Chemistry, and Physics. You'll notice that there are blank templates which can be really easily edited just by inserting titles. You can edit those, and we have criteria as well as all the marked parts of the report. So really easy to adapt those to whatever context you've got. Then we have common templates that schools use and have used in the past. So these have all the background information already inserted, as well as all the relevant parts of the report that you need. NCEA Level 2, we're starting in there as well. We've got a number of templates as well as specific examples that schools have used, again with areas for students to work, with grading criteria as well. And we'll work through and add in more templates for Level 3 and other standards in Level 1 and 2. We're also looking at building some agriculture ones and earth and space science. For maths and English, you also find diagnostic assessments for junior areas in there, as well as a lot of internal assessment material at NCEA Level 1 and 2 especially. Okay, let's move forward now and look at how to actually set these assessments. So using the green assessments tab, you just click on set assessment, and we have a number of options. So if you're using a pre-built assessment, ones that we already have on our system, you go down that line there. We also have our great quick test function, which you've probably seen before, so I won't go through that, but that takes questions from the lessons and is really great in terms of setting targeted remediation for students. So with our pre-built assessments, I'll choose a class. You do have access to all classes, so if you're wanting to set a test across the whole cohort, you can click on that, and then you can pick a group of classes, and you can use the search bar there as well. But for now, just my Year 11 class, click into what. I may be doing something like Physics 1.1 at the moment, so I could use our internal assessment templates folder, or go down to our NCEA Level 1 folder and find it through there. But I'll use our new templates, NCEA Level 1, Physics, and let's say we're doing the RAMP investigation. I can preview it at that point or just confirm selection. So the thing about science internals is that often they run over a long period of time, so it might be 3 or 4 days, and that might be spread across a week or 2. So you want to extend the end date out, give yourself and other teachers enough time to do the assessment. So you might give yourself up to 2 weeks, and that allows for time to carry out resubmissions and other things that are required there. Under the assessment conditions, you can adjust the time frame, so it might be something like 240 minutes or 4 hours. The time will pause if a student leaves the assessment, so if they just need to go to the toilet or something, that's catered for in there. But in terms of locking it at the end of each lesson, I'll show you how to do that later on in the webinar. We'd want to require students to enter an access code because we've essentially opened the assessment up for a longish period of time, and then we're wanting to protect it until each teacher is ready to do it with their class. So that access code does that for us, and also puts students into full screen monitor mode so they can't leave the assessment at any stage. I talked about reducing the need for reader-writers. All of our assessments and lessons now have the text-to-speech function. The assessments can be read out to students. Results. You can withhold student results until you choose to release them. Otherwise, students will get their results automatically. Once this is in place, you can release the assessment results as provisional results or finalised results, and you do also have the option later on to decide whether you want students to be able to view their papers or not. Targeted remediation works really well for quick tests. Also, in a topic test, you can tag particular lessons to questions, and if students do poorly in those questions, they'll be linked back directly to those lessons automatically. And then we've got our optional settings around emails to students. So I went through that reasonably quickly, but obviously you can rewatch this webinar at any stage, setting up the timeframes, deciding on your security features and adding those in, and if you need to, you can look at targeted remediation or not. Once you've set an assessment, you'll see the access code there. There's a link that you can share, Google Classroom. You'll see all your students' usernames, passwords, and have the ability to reset there. That's through our Get Started area. So if I'm home and I wanted to find that assessment again, clicking into that assessment area, I'll be able to see that assessment there with that access code available. I'll look at a previous one that we've got here. So I'll go through there and click on marking. So once students have started the assessment and completed it, you can mark their assessment in here and also reopen it. When they're actually doing the assessment online, you can monitor them. So this is a really great page to keep open when they're actually in class doing it. You can see when they've started, you can see if anyone is losing focus on the exam window. You can lock it and unlock it. So there is options there as well. And that basically will protect the assessment until you're ready to carry on with that again. So that might be over overnight or between lessons. You can also force students to submit, extend time limits, and you can reopen students' last attempt and give them more time if you need to. So that's if you've got an assessment that requires resubmissions. Once a student has submitted their attempt, you can reopen it for a period of time and get them to relook at that particular area. With the marking, once you click into Mark Assessment, you might have parts of the assessment that are automatically marked. In this case here, these are all questions that need to be marked by the teacher. You can click through them, and up on the right-hand side, you've got the option of the different grading that you can use for each question, right down to excellence level for certain parts of the report. You can add comments that will be seen by other teachers if they go in to do moderation. Also, these will be seen by students once the papers are released back to the student. And there's an area there to activate a final grade and then feedback as well if needed. We'll have all the analysis at the end of the assessment as well, which is really detailed. And we'll just jump in there and have a look at some screenshots of how some of our features work. I'll just bring this in there now. Okay, so from a student's point of view, this is always good to see. When they're in that particular assessment, they've got a submit button. That's when they finally finish it. That's changed now to pause and exit, and they've got their remaining time. When they hover over on the left-hand side here, they'll see the different questions. They can work through those. They can also flag a question for later and then just move through their assessment. If you have components that are automatically marked, they'll be marked for you when you go into it as a teacher, and then you're just required to mark the parts that are highlighted down here. Assigning a final grade, I've just been through that, so that's just ticking the final grade. You may require resubmissions, which means that you can put a provisional grade in, and I'll look at how you can share those later. Students, if you do release results, you can release them as provisional finalized. They'll get their result, and that will pop up in their student zone. And if you do release the papers back to them, they can go in and view their marks. So in this case here, this is identifying the student result, the strengths of the student, and then it's actually come up with some targeted remediation because the assessment was set up that way. And they can go through and do those recommended lessons. Students can go in and view their test papers, so they can actually see how they perform in the different parts of the test. They can view comments if there are comments there, and they can also bring up marking schedules to see how that particular question was marked. Comments can pop up for students as well, I just mentioned that, so that's how it would look for them. And we'll jump out of that now. Comparing assessment results is often valuable if you are using our diagnostic assessments. You can have a compare results button available there, so if you do a pre and a post test, you can compare those two. And there's not only this data at the top here, but you also get to view how much each student has improved and how much the class has improved in different parts of that topic area. Okay, that's gone through most of it. Let's go back into the marking area. This is the area where you can make the results provisional or finalized, and whether or not you want to allow your students to review their papers. So that can all be done. The other thing is that you can go in and view any other class's work. So if you are doing internal moderation, I can jump out of this particular assessment. I can go to all classes. I can find a different class, and I can then go actually into that class and view those students' work. So that's really powerful for internal moderation. At the end of these assessments, you get a zip file of individual student PDFs. So I'll just jump into there again. So you can export all of their answers. They come through by email in a zip file, and for external moderation, you can send away the individual student PDFs that you need to. Hopefully that's covered most of the key things to get started. Obviously, if you've got any questions at any point, get in touch with us and we can go through it. Good luck. Do have a look in the content library and see what's already there, but always do get in touch. If you've got a particular template that you use or a particular internal assessment that you'd like us to build, we can help with that. And if the templates here aren't exactly what you require, but these are editable as well. So just move into edit mode. You can then move these templates. I'll show you that quickly. So I've got a blank template there. You move it into your private workspace or schools folder, and then that template is fully editable, and you can adjust the text, add in your own images, things like that, change the context, give them some background information, and then adjust any of this marking criteria if you need to. All right, all the best. Thank you very much for joining today, and please do get in touch if you need any help with anything. Thank you. Bye.